You're in, you've landed the job, you're showing up, you're hitting your KPIs. You've been told that if you're loyal, if you put in the time, if you climb that ladder steadily, the rewards will follow. That your salary will reflect your contribution. Your growth. That's the narrative, right? The one they feed you in onboarding, the one whispered in performance reviews. But let's pull back the curtain. What's really happening behind the polished glass walls and the endless meetings about synergy? The truth is, for most of you, there's an invisible barrier. We call it the ambition ceiling. It's not about your talent or your work ethic, it's about the system. The corporate structure, by its very design, has built-in limitations on how much you can realistically earn by just showing up and doing your job, year after year. They might give you a promotion, a nice-sounding title, a 3% raise that barely keeps pace with inflation, but the exponential growth? That's a different game. Think about it. When was the last time you saw someone in your company double their salary by simply being a, quote, loyal employee for 5 more years? It's rare. Extremely rare. Because the system isn't built for that kind of linear reward. It's built to manage costs, to maintain a predictable payroll. Your value, the true market value of your skills and your potential, often exceeds what they are structured to pay you within your current role or even the next logical step up. So the question you have to ask yourself, and I mean right now, is, are you being fairly compensated for the value you bring? Or is the corporate machine subtly designed to keep you capped, to keep you predictable, to keep you manageable? Are you an indispensable asset or a line item they can optimize? This isn't about blame. It's about understanding the mechanics of the game. And once you understand, you can start to play it differently. We're about to take the red pill. You ready? Because that's the first lie they sell you. The meritocracy myth. You're told that if you just work hard, deliver results, and are a good performer, you'll be rewarded. That your salary will naturally climb, your promotions will be a direct reflection of your impact. And sure, talent is a factor, they need competent people. But let's be brutally honest about what drives the numbers on your paycheck. Think about your annual review. That 3% or 5% raise? That's not a spontaneous outpouring of appreciation for your groundbreaking work. That's a budget line item. It's an inflation adjustment, a retention tactic designed to keep you from immediately looking elsewhere, and it's calculated to fit within a predefined compensation band. They're not looking at your true market value or the actual revenue you generated. They're looking at how much they can afford to give you without disrupting their financial forecasts. Promotions? They're often less about a sudden surge in your indispensability and more about a strategic shuffling of resources. Someone leaves, a role needs filling, and they promote from within, not because you suddenly became a titan of industry overnight, but because it's cheaper and easier than hiring externally. It keeps the internal structure intact, the training costs low, and the predictable salary progression going. They're optimizing their workforce plan, not celebrating your individual genius. This isn't to say you shouldn't be good at your job. Being competent is the price of entry. But understanding that your compensation is primarily a function of corporate financial strategy, of predictable cost management, and of internal operational inertia, that's the key. Your value to them is often measured in dollars and cents on their balance sheet, not in the exponential growth of your personal capital. And that, my friends, is the foundation of how we start to change the game. Because now you understand that your value to them is a line item on their P&L. And from that perspective, their incentives are hardwired to keep you exactly where you are, or at least to move you up incrementally. Think about it. For the company, the cheapest way to manage labor costs is to give you a 3% or 4% annual raise. It's predictable, it's budgetable, and it barely dents their profit margin. A significant salary bump for an existing employee? That's a major financial decision. It disrupts their carefully crafted compensation bands. It requires justification. It sets a precedent they'd rather avoid. Why pay more for the same asset when they can keep it at a slightly inflated but still manageable cost? This is where the concept of labor arbitrage comes into play. It's a fancy term, but it's brutally simple. Companies are constantly looking for ways to get the best talent for the least amount of money. If they can hire someone externally with the same skills, or even better skills, for 20% less than what it would cost to significantly bump your salary, guess who they're going to hire? It's not personal. It's just business. They're not rewarding your loyalty. They're optimizing their spend. Your internal growth trajectory is often designed to be slower and less expensive than acquiring new, potentially more skilled, external talent at a lower market rate. So when you're looking at those modest annual raises, understand what they represent. They're not a reflection of your increasing value or your dedication. They are the company's cost containment strategy in action. They are designed to keep you engaged enough, but not so expensive, that they'd rather look elsewhere. This misalignment is the core reason why staying in one place, waiting for the company to recognize your worth through tiny increments, is a losing strategy for your personal wealth accumulation. You have to understand this to break free. Now, let's talk about the cold, hard truth. The math behind why staying still is actively costing you millions over your career. This is what they don't want you to see when they talk about loyalty and growth within the company. It's a carefully constructed illusion. Think about it. When you're at a company, your salary increases are typically tied to performance reviews, maybe a cost of living adjustment, and perhaps a promotion. Let's be generous and say you get a solid 5% bump each year. That sounds good, right? But let's do the math. If you're earning $80,000 and get a 5% raise, you're now at $84,000. The next year, 5% on $84,000 is $4, $200. You're making incremental gains. Slowly. Predictably. Now, let's compare that to job hopping. When you move to a new company, you're not just negotiating for a raise, you're negotiating for a completely new market rate for your skills. Companies are willing to pay a premium to bring in talent that already has proven experience, especially if you can demonstrate you've solved problems they're currently facing. We're not talking 5% here. We're talking 20%, 30%, sometimes even 50% jumps. I've seen it countless times, and the data backs it up. An individual earning $90,000 who stays put might see their salary creep to $110,000 over 3 years. But the same individual, with the same skills, who makes one strategic move after 2 years, might jump to $120,000 or $130,000. That's not just a few extra bucks. That's a significant acceleration of your personal capital accumulation. This is what we call career elasticity, your ability to stretch your earning potential by leveraging external opportunities. Staying put creates a rigid ceiling. It's like trying to inflate a balloon that's already tied off. The pressure builds, but the expansion is minimal. The corporate performance review cycle is designed to manage costs, not maximize your individual income velocity. They want to retain you, yes, but at the lowest possible cost that keeps you from looking elsewhere. Your true market value is almost always higher than what your current employer is willing to pay for you to stay in your current role. You have to exploit that gap. You have to understand that your loyalty is a tax on your future earnings. And that loyalty, that comfortable inertia, is precisely what traps you. You're waiting for the system to reward you. You're banking on that annual review, that little bump in salary that barely keeps pace with inflation, let alone your actual market value. You think tenure equals appreciation? Wrong. Tenure equals a lower risk profile for your employer. They know you. They've invested minimally in your onboarding, and you're less likely to jump ship if they throw you a bone every so often. This passive approach is the employee's strategic flaw. You're operating on the assumption that your employer has your best financial interests at heart, or that your manager is actively tracking your external market worth and will proactively offer it to you. That's a fantasy. They are optimizing for their P&L, not your personal wealth accumulation. Think about it. Your performance review is a negotiation, but you're often going in unarmed. You're relying on your manager's subjective perception of your good work, not on objective, market-driven data. And promotions? They're often about filling a need for the company, not necessarily about maximizing your earning potential. You might get a title bump and a few extra dollars, but are you truly capturing the value you generate? Almost certainly not. This is where psychological biases kick in. There's the endowment effect. You overvalue what you have, which is your current job and its perceived security, making you hesitant to risk it for something potentially better. Then there's the status quo bias, the preference for things to stay the same. It feels safer to keep doing what you're doing, hoping for incremental gains, rather than making a bold move. You're also likely suffering from a lack of external validation. You haven't shopped yourself around, you haven't spoken to recruiters, haven't researched comparable roles and salaries with a critical eye. So you operate within the echo chamber of your current company's compensation bands, which are almost always designed to be at the lower end of the market spectrum for your skill set. You are leaving millions on the table by not understanding your true leverage. And that's the first lie they sell you, that your current salary is a fair reflection of your worth. It's a comfortable delusion, isn't it? It allows you to clock in, do your work, and feel justified. But behind the closed doors, in the budget meetings, your compensation isn't about your intrinsic value. It's about the cost of replacing you. It's about market inertia. It's about keeping you just happy enough, just paid enough, to prevent you from looking elsewhere. This is where you take the red pill. You stop seeing yourself as an employee, a cog in their machine, and start seeing yourself as a business, a B2B service provider. Your employer, they are your client. And like any smart business, you need to understand your value proposition. What are your unique skills? Not the generic ones you list on LinkedIn, but the specific, hard-won abilities that solve their problems. Can you reduce a process by 15%? Can you land that client they've been chasing for years? Can you fix that critical bug that's costing them thousands an hour? Quantify it. Numbers are the universal language of business, and especially of corporate finance. Your achievements aren't just bullet points for a resume. They are line items that contribute to their bottom line. And then, you need to understand market demand. What are these skills worth outside your current echo chamber? What are other clients willing to pay for your specific brand of expertise? This isn't about arrogance. It's about market intelligence. It's about understanding supply and demand. If your skills are in high demand and short supply, your leverage is immense. This shift from passive recipient to active negotiator, from employee to business owner, is the philosophical bedrock of everything we're going to discuss. You are not waiting for them to recognize your value. You are demonstrating it, quantifying it, and leveraging it. You are engineering your career, not just living it. This is how you stop leaving millions on the table. This is how you start building real capital. And that's precisely why we move to the next crucial phase, the leverage hack. Strategic external validation. Forget waiting for that annual review, that pat on the head, or some vague promise of future promotion. That's the game they want you to play. The game where you're a cog, hoping to be noticed. We're not playing that game. We are actively, deliberately, and strategically exploring the outside. This doesn't mean you have to be ready to jump ship tomorrow. It means you are gathering intel. Think of it like a reconnaissance mission. You're not invading, you're scouting. You're gonna have conversations. You're going to interview. Yes, you heard me. You're going to interview for roles that sound interesting, even if you don't plan on taking them. Why? Because every interview is a data point. Every recruiter call is a market pulse check. What are they paying for your skill set in this market? What are the hot skills they're seeking right now? This is intelligence, pure and simple, and it's the most valuable kind you can possess. This is how you get objective, real-time validation of your worth. Your employer might say you're valuable, but what does the market say? What are other companies willing to pay for your specific expertise? This knowledge is your superpower. It transforms you from a supplicant begging for a raise to a business owner negotiating a contract. You walk into that salary discussion not with hope, but with hard data. You know your market rate. You know your leverage. This intel isn't just for negotiating your current salary. It's for understanding which skills to prioritize, which projects to volunteer for, and when it's genuinely time to walk away and capture your full earning potential. It's about understanding the true cost of loyalty, which, as we've established, is a tax on your lifetime income. This isn't about being disloyal. It's about being strategic. It's about ensuring you're always operating from a position of strength, armed with undeniable proof of your market value. You are a business, and this is how you understand your own business's valuation. So you've accepted that loyalty is a tax on your lifetime income. This isn't about being disloyal. It's about being strategic. It's about ensuring you're always operating from a position of strength, armed with undeniable proof of your market value. You are a business, and this is how you understand your own business's valuation. Now let's talk execution. This is where you deploy the leverage hack. First, you must build your value dossier. Forget vague descriptions of your duties. We're talking hard numbers. Quantify everything. Did you increase revenue by X%? Reduce costs by Y dollars? Improve process efficiency by Z hours saved? For every project, every initiative, every problem you solved, document the outcome. This isn't about bragging. It's about presenting irrefutable data points that scream high-value asset. This dossier is your personal P&L statement, your proof of ROI for the company. Keep it updated religiously. Next, practice your negotiation. This isn't a casual chat. It's a performance. Rehearse your key achievements, your market value, and your ask. Practice with a trusted peer, or even just in front of a mirror. Anticipate their objections. We don't have the budget. Fine. Your performance is adequate. Let's look at the numbers. You need to be comfortable, confident, and data-driven. Remember, the ROI behind your ask is less important than the what of your value. Timing is everything. Don't ask for a raise when the company just announced layoffs. The optimal moments are after a major success you spearheaded, during your performance review, but only if you've preconditioned the conversation, or when you have a competing offer in hand. Speaking of offers, understand compensation. Salary is just one piece. Bonuses, stock options, RSUs, even extra vacation days, or professional development budgets, these are all levers. Know the market rate for your skills, not just your current title. HR's internal pay bands are designed to keep you in a box. Your goal is to operate outside of those boxes by demonstrating exceptional quantifiable value. This is how you start accelerating your income velocity. So we've talked about how to move beyond those internal pay bands, how to quantify your value, and why that's the real engine for accelerating your income velocity. This isn't about hoping for a promotion or waiting for your annual review. This is about actively engineering your career. Remember, the ambition ceiling is real. It's the invisible barrier corporations erect, not out of malice, but out of their own internal logic and incentives. They want stability, predictability, and cost control. Your individual ambition, if left unchecked and unmanaged from your perspective, becomes a potential disruption. They're not incentivized to make you a millionaire. They're incentivized to get the most work out of you for the lowest possible cost over the longest possible time. That's the fundamental misalignment. And that's why passive career management, just doing good work and expecting recognition, is a trap. It's like expecting the stock market to reward you simply because you bought a share. You need to understand the market, understand the valuation, and understand how to leverage your assets. Your skills are your assets, your network is your liquidity. This is where strategic external validation becomes your superpower. When you're constantly getting signals from the outside market, through recruiters, through industry conversations, through competitive offers, you're not just getting a validation of your worth, you're gaining leverage. You're proving, to yourself and to others, that your skills are in demand beyond your current company's limited perspective. This is how you break free from the silent caps, the unspoken assumptions about your ceiling. Your job is a business transaction. You are a service provider. And like any smart business owner, you need to understand your market value. Diversify your client base, metaphorically speaking, by keeping your options open, and never, ever, let one client dictate your entire earning potential. It's time to stop waiting for permission and start architecting your own financial destiny. Take control. Choose your trajectory. The power is in your hands, not in their HR policies.